Welcome to Jumping into Life. This is season 3. Thank you for being patient with me. It's hard to get guests to come on the show to speak about their personal trials and tribulations. And when I do get a guest, and I always am very, very thankful because it's not for me, it's not for subscriptions, it's not for views, it's for you. These guests agree to come on and share their personal trials and tribulations for your benefit. So I'm thanking them and those who have come on the past and those who are in season 3. So when you see an episode, if you like it, please like it because it's not for me, it's for you and for others who are interested in this program because streaming platforms, they look at the number of likes and the views and the subscribers. And my hope and desire is to have those streaming services pick up on these likes and subscribers and share across their platform because the content is very, very important. This is a mental health podcast. And so this episode is entitled Lifelines for Baby Daddies. Now, you may wonder, I've talked to a lot of women and they've asked, why? Why are you doing this episode? They're men. That's why I'm doing this episode. And men, we don't like to come forward and express our vulnerabilities and emotions, but it's important that we do. And that's why I have this episode because there's a lot of support groups for women. I'm not saying, anything bad about women or generalizing, but men just don't tend to share their emotions and feelings like women do. And so we're going to talk about how men come forth, what resources are available for men so they can feel comfortable sharing just women do with their support system. So you can follow me on TikTok, Jump Into Life. That's the handle. You can follow me on YouTube. I'm on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, you name it, I'm on there. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Jermaine Johnson. He's here in the flesh.
In the flesh.
You will hear from him directly how impactful the Dad's Workshop was and continues to be in his life. So without further ado, Jermaine Johnson.
Man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So how did you hear about the Dad's Workshop?
So I heard about Dad's Workshop through meeting Alfonso. Like me and Alfonso, I knew him long time ago. I was looking to network and meet new people,
Okay.
and grow my circle. And he said, I'll put you for a lot of people. He's like, I have a large network, and he's like, so let's get together.
So it started as a networking opportunity for you, but it turned out to be something else.
Even bigger. Yeah, even bigger.
Like how big? Because it impacted your life, which we're going to discuss.
That's my dude, man. That's my mentor.
So what's it? So I'm trying to nail down specific what and I didn't ask Alfonso because I didn't know, but what was it in that conversation? I know you said it would
so
start
much,
off a networking, but then it turned to something bigger. What was that transition? Because you were how old was your daughter then?
She was 9, going into 10.
Okay, and how old is she now?
She's just turned 15
Okay.
Thursday.
So that's 6 years you've been involved in this program.
Yeah.
What made you say I'm gonna stick around for 6 years?
Man, it was just the way he pours into me, man.
Because there's a lot of dads
Oh, yeah.
who are in need spiritually, emotionally, financially. It's he discussed a lot of the programs that they offer and the value of that. What did you see initially that you say I'm gonna stay for a day that's turned to 6 years?
It was the things he was teaching me. Like, any problem can be solved because a problem don't have a brain.
Okay, that's that's pretty deep.
And there was, a time in my life, man, when a lot was going on, and like just went through my second miscarriage as a dad.
Okay.
Had just lost my girlfriend. Just lost my dad, and out the blue, he just texted me and said, "What are you doing?" And tell him I said, I'm multitasking, and he said, "Come to church."
Okay.
And I came to church, and I almost didn't go in because there was too many people there. I'm from a small little church, But
Why did the crowd size? I know you say you from a.
because it was just, I just wasn't at the time. I didn't want to be around a lot of people.
Okay.
You know, I was kind of like in my solitude time. I didn't want to be around a lot of people at the time.
Gotcha.
I needed to, be me. But he was like, come, and I didn't almost go in, but I went in. And since I went in, I never stopped going.
Sounds like he's a support system.
Oh man, that's big bro, man. That's my mentor, man.
What are some of the initiatives of the Dad's Workshop that you found was impactful to help you become an effective dad?
When he showed me the difference between a reactive dad and a responsive dad.
Okay, explain the difference.
A responsive dad is, a reactive dad doesn't have anything, don't have anything planned.
Okay.
It's all emotion. It's off your emotions. You don't spend much time with your kids. A responsive dad, has planned things out. Like here's an example. One time with my daughter, she had left the school, right,
Okay.
without permission, and my thing is what are you doing? Why are you not where you're supposed to be at? And we get a break from our meeting, and I go right where she's at.
Yeah.
10-minute drive, I'm there. And the whole time I'm just like reacting. And I get her in the car and I'm just like reacting. Like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? This and that. And I get her home, I drop her off, and I go back to my meeting. And then it was, like a night or two later, I realized that I was being reactive and not being responsive, because the responsive dad would have said, well, have you trained her? The Bible says, train up a child the way they should go, they will not, depart.
Okay.
Well, had you trained her? Well, yeah, I told her she ain't supposed to leave the school. But have you trained her? Have you taken her, and said, this is why you don't leave the school. This is why you don't do this.
Okay.
Like I used to work as an instructor at the state hospital, and we would train staff over and over and over again. Well, why? It's because when the real thing happens, they need to know how to respond, what to do. And so had I been responsive, I would have went and picked her up and then talked to her, asked her, like, what made you think that this is okay for you to come over here without discussing this with me? What about me or our relationship makes it where you feel like you can't come to me and say, hey, Dad, it's okay if I go with my friend,
Yeah.
Leave the school. It's okay if I go with her to go do this. And it came back to me like, that's on you. It's not on her. That's on you.
Right.
You haven't trained her in the way that she should be doing things or going. So, but that's because of him, planting those seeds in my head, that just because you were raised a certain way don't mean that you got to raise your kid that way too.
How were you raised?
Man, so my mom and dad, my real parents didn't raise me.
Okay.
So I was raised by my aunt and my uncle. And so that's what I call my mom and my dad. But
Okay.
my real parents and me, we have a great relationship now. They were absent growing up. They had their things and stuff. But I was raised in a house, where I had a 2-parent household, But my mom was very vocal. Mama Phil, we called her. She was very vocal. She pretty much ran the house. But she always had respect for my dad. She always made sure that we had respect for him too. And I respected him because it wasn't until I was, about 7 when I found out, 6 when I found out that they weren't my parents.
How'd you find out?
Well, because
You overheard a conversation?
no, man. It was a trying time during during that time, and at first I didn't really realize because I was too young. I as a kid, I tell people, man, like kids aren't supposed to understand adult adult things. You know,
Yeah.
we're not supposed to look through life
That's
through
why older
adult
people
eyes.
tell kids go sit in the corner and be quiet.
Yeah.
And the kids are supposed to be seen and not heard.
Because this ain't what you supposed. You don't understand this. This is what you supposed to understand. You know, and so it was a trying time. You know, and I was given problems, and so my aunt was my mama. She said, "Hey, you gonna go live with your daddy?" I said, "What? Y'all is my
Right.
no, And so I moved with my I moved to my grandma's house. That's where my daddy was staying, and yeah, I stayed with my grandma for about 3 years.
Okay.
You know, in the projects on the east side, and then moved back with my aunt, my uncle.
What
And
caused that transition back to their house?
um, things had gotten better. You know, like I said, it was a time um, when my pops, man, he was going through addiction.
Okay.
You know,
When you say your pops, your
my dad that raised me.
okay,
So
okay, your uncle.
my
Well,
uncle, yeah,
just keep it clear for the
yeah,
people who listen.
yeah, my uncle, man, he
Okay.
was going through addiction, and my aunt was really trying to do that. You know, help him through that, man, and so having another headache, having another kid around,
Yeah.
probably wasn't the best thing, man. So I had to go with my grandma for a while, and then once things, smoothed it out, I came back to live with my aunt, and my uncle.
The fathers will talk a lot about prior family relations,
Hmm.
right? So how was it living with your biological father at your grandmother's place, and before your uncle, who you refer to as your father, got to a drug addiction? What was the difference between those two men? Because we're talking about Dad's workshop, how important it is for men, boys,
Hmm.
to learn from mentors or see how to be a good
Yeah.
father or effective parent.
So I was too young to really witness, my uncle going through his addiction. My dad, he was never around. He would come in, as he would come in to clean up for a little while because he was in his addiction also. He would come in and clean up, and then go back.
Okay.
Or if he had papers he was wanted, he gonna come and hide at grandma's house until everything cool off.
Okay.
But it wasn't until um, I moved back with my uncle, is when I seen a difference in them. He was he was always there.
Okay.
You know, uh, football game, basketball, track. He gonna be there.
Okay.
He travel up and down the highway. Even my auntie was mad about it. You putting too many miles in the car. I gotta go see my boy play.
Yeah.
He gonna go watch me play. He gonna take my little cousins with him to come watch me play. But he was always supportive. And what I can say is that he was kind of like, both of them are kind of the same in a sense where their dads weren't there.
Okay.
And so they're trying to navigate water that there was nobody there to teach them. And so
And we say navigate water. So you, and I want to put words in about you. Are you implying or saying that they had to try to figure out how to be a father to you because they didn't learn it from their father?
yeah. So yeah, they had to learn how to, like being in a boat, and how to use a compass and navigate. They had to learn, how to find north. And um and a lot of times, for myself, I had to learn that too,
Okay.
because um they were there. Like my uncle was there, but he worked nights, so he slept through the daytime.
Okay.
It wasn't until, man, my freshman year, he went from being working nights to working days. And then when he was home, he kind of stayed in his room. That was his domain, was in his room. And so in order to go and spend time with him, you had to go in a room with him, and hang out with him. And so, and like I said, like his, he didn't have a dad to come take him along and say, hey, let's do this, let's do that. It was the streets.
Let me ask you this. So, did you have a conversation with your uncle, who you refer to as your father? We just go, just for conversation purpose,
Yeah.
we'll just say
Uncle.
and,
Yeah.
so you understood at some point in your early life that they weren't raised by their fathers, so they didn't have a good example of how to be a father. What in you made you realize that this my uncle is quite different from how he was raised, and he's trying to teach me something which you would I'm articulating what you just told me, is that he showed you how to be a supportive dad. He was at your games. He drove, all over town
Oh, yeah.
to make sure that you got your games, but he took time out of his sleep and to
Yeah,
do these
yeah,
things for you.
yeah.
At what point in your life did you say, you know what, what made him change? Can you say I'm not talking about when he was addicted to drugs, but what did you see in him that say, I'm going to be there for Jermaine?
I mean,
Did y'all have that conversation?
It was really my aunt.
Okay.
She would always like say, "That's a good man," like, and for her to fight, for a man who's going through addiction, when she could have easily just said, "Yeah, I'll wash my hands of it."
Okay.
For her to do that, spoke a lot. And for her to always like say, that's a good man. She always made sure that we knew that he was, a good man. And he never said I love you.
Okay.
Right? And my mom never said I love you, because like she told me, she said, I never got told I was loved. I never got shown that.
Wow.
So how can I show you that? How can I tell you that? Right? But he would always show his love through his actions.
Okay. And what about her, your aunt?
Same thing.
Same thing, by her actions.
But her thing was kind of like, the movie Fences, where he said, I feed you. I put clothes on your back. You eat my food.
Yeah.
That was her, and her way of loving you, man, was like she would cook. And so when she would bake cookies, and she'd give you cookies and stuff, man. They had their ways of showing love, by, sacrificing and stuff like that.
So when you had your child, it's one and only child,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah. Well, I have a bonus child too.
Okay.
Her sister.
Okay.
Her sister Mackenzie.
Okay.
So yeah, I have.
So you said one child.
I have one biological. Yeah, I have one biological child.
You said McKinsey. You got to get her name.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to get upset.
So Jaylee is my biological daughter,
Okay.
and then Mackenzie is my bonus child.
Okay, perfect. I didn't want either one of them saying he mentioned you, but they mentioned me. Trust me,
They don't get that jealous. They don't get jealous like that. They know I love them.
Okay, and so you learned from what I'm hearing. You learned love by actions, but not by expressing emotion.
Mm-hmm.
At what point in your fatherhood did you realize, I need to do both? Or did you leave your aunts and uncle's house knowing that, or believing that only showing love through action is more important than expressing my emotions?
Well, it's because when my daughter was when my ex-wife, when she said she was pregnant, we had had a miscarriage before Jaylee. And so when she came and said that she was pregnant, at first, it's like, oh, don't get too excited, because
you told her not to get excited.
No, myself.
Okay,
don't get too excited, because we already know what happened before.
Gotcha.
But it was just like, I can't. Once she said she was pregnant, I was like, don't get too excited, but be prepared, just the same way you were preparing yourself for the baby before, the same way. And so, like, I knew that love was not just, not just shown through actions, but also through, your words and things. And, but I had I guess a misconception of it, a misunderstanding of it, because, my love was always like, for family and stuff, actions and things, but for my partner, it was like physical, and it wasn't until I learned what like intimacy was more important, like.
And since you mentioned intimacy and physical, because that's different.
Yeah.
Go into details from a male perspective.
So for most of us, intimacy is the touching, the physical, the act, the sex, but true intimacy is, me like looking at this person and seeing who this person is, for who they are.
Yeah.
So it's like, into me you see, so that's the perspective that I.
That's a good way of put it.
Yeah.
Into me you see.
Yeah. Into me you see.
Where'd you get that? Is it something you just thought of just now, or
no? I mean, that's just.
Where'd you pick that up from?
So like sometimes like Alfonso, he said it to me a while back. He says, man, you just have a way of just like painting a picture for things and then like using words and stuff and it just came. So it's like into me, you see.
A lot of people gonna be used to that.
Nah.
You should have trademarked it.
No. I let everybody use it. Okay. We can pass it around.
So was the miscarriage made you change your mindset as far as like looking
no, I always wanted to be
intimacy?
No, it wasn't a miscarriage, man. It was more of a shift of like I don't want to always look at a woman, and just want to just have sex with her. You know what I'm saying? Just be physical with her. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be able to have that conversation. I want to be able to talk to you. I want to get to know you on that level. Because I grew up around a bunch of women. And so I heard all the stories and all the stuff about men and this and that, you know, how they don't do this, how they don't do that. So it was like, okay, well, how can I be different? How can I be, like what they're saying, like what they want?
Okay.
So
when did you learn that you weren't doing that? Because you said you listened to women.
So I was young, man. Okay. Like I'm talking about young, before like the age of 10.
Okay.
I've been getting knowledge from a long time, man. I've been soaking the game up for a long time, man. But like, yeah, man, just listen to them talk, man. And it's kind of like you say, they say, hey, go sit in the corner and be quiet. Well, I'll go sit in the corner. I'm listening because I want to hear all the stories y'all got to talk about because y'all got juicy gossip and y'all little stories, man. And so, and like I said, like I was raised with my aunt and my uncle, so their kids were a lot older than me.
Okay.
I don't want to throw their age out there now, but I just turned 40.
Okay.
So that lets you know where they're at. They were in high school and I was in, So I learned a lot from them, man. Picking up from them and stuff.
Because when you enter the dad's workshop, you learn quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right. And based on what I'm hearing, it's like you didn't really need the workshop because you learned how to be secure and that being vulnerable with your emotions were okay.
Yeah, but I did need the workshop because I needed to know. I needed to see other men, who have been through what I've been through.
Okay.
I needed to see other men who were going through what I'm going through, because I need to see the start, the middle, and the finish. And so I needed the workshop because
what's the start and what I just went to define the finish.
So like a lot of the guys. So there's been a lot of men in the group that when they got there, man, they were lost.
Okay.
In addiction, going through child custody issues and stuff like that, and they're in bad shape, and through the process, like Nanette was saying, I can't see.
And Nanette is Alfonso's wife.
That's his wife. Yeah, she's like, I can't see them getting to the other side. I can't see it. And that's a beautiful thing about it, is that you can't see it, but you keep working towards it, you know. And then on the other side of it, you know, like there's guys who have graduated the group, and you know they're now leading their own groups. You know,
Yeah.
there's some in other states now that are starting, you know, programs.
Oh, so they heard about
No,
the
they were in the group.
Oh, okay.
They were in the group.
Okay.
And you know, like moved away to, you know, pursue their dream and have their family, moved away, and where they're at now, they started a new group
Okay.
of dads. You know, fatherhood engagement.
Alfonso started a.
Oh man, it's a movement, man. You know, because there's guys who are now running Celebrate Recovery groups. You know, who were in the program, and even when you graduate, you're still in the program. You
Yeah.
know, because you know it's kind of like now we started to move into a different area where we're speaking more about self-sufficiency. You know,
What does that look like?
where we take care of ourselves. You know,
Like
we don't have-
individually or the family?
the group,
Oh, you talking about
our
the
fatherhood
group
group,
okay.
take care of
Being
itself.
self-sufficient.
It's self-sufficient, and that means all of our dads have to be self-sufficient in this part. You know, so that we can have when dads are coming from jail, when dads are coming, you know, off the streets, they need a job. We can get them a job. We can hire them, because you know, a lot of people say we'll hire felons, or you know, but they won't.
Yeah.
So hey, you in the dad program? Come on, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna hire you. Come on, let's work. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put my time into you.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you say, I needed the group, because I found my tribe. You know, like I found my people. You
Yeah.
know, and these guys I can call on. You know, text them, hey, I got this, and man, my phone starts blowing up. You know, because of this group, it led me to another group. You know, Men's Alliance.
Yeah.
You know, where like I say, find your tribe. You know, now I have other brothers. You know, and so it's just, without this, I don't think I would ever have branched out and found other men to network with and grow community wise, and not just be on some homeboy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but really
Now
be on-
explain the homeboy stuff for those people who not from, like, you know,
So-
our community.
So just going and just shooting the breeze, you know. Not really, you know, y'all just hanging out, you know, having some drinks, you know, playing some dominoes, which is good. You
Yeah.
know, you need that time. But then, you know, I also need that time where I'm like, hey bro, I'm having this problem. You know, hey man, like I got, like, man, my childhood friends. I got a group of friends that are outside of, you know, my other friends, but this group of friends, they're all married. We're all business owners, or moving towards business ownership. You know, anytime we all meet, we're gonna have jokes. We're gonna have fun, but we also gonna have a deep
Serious
conversation. You know, about what's next, what are we doing, where are we going, what's up with this, what's up with that. So, yeah. So like, I gotta have my people, man, that I can go and, you know, have fun with, but then also can pour into me.
So it sounds like you guys motivate each other to the point where you don't want anybody in your group to fail, which
No.
is good. That's rare, right?
Well, actually, man, like, failure's okay.
Okay,
You can fail, because in the failure is a lesson.
that's true. You learned that from the dad's workshop?
No, man, that just came
Or
off
just
my
life?
head. That's just like, because I don't like saying I take losses.
Okay.
I take lessons. You know, a loss. You know, I've had losses. You know, I've lost people, but as long as I'm alive and I'm still breathing,
Yeah.
I ain't take no loss. That's a lesson. I can always come back from that. You know, so but that is, we motivate each other, man. You know, because there's not many spaces out there for men to where we can feel like we can be vulnerable without being judged.
Yeah.
You know. Where I can come and say, you know, good job, bro, man, I'm proud of you, man. I'm happy to see you doing these things. You know, keep going, without somebody saying, oh, you just want a pat on the back.
Right.
You know, no, man, like, he put work in. Like, I got a buddy, I was telling a kid yesterday at the dealership, I was like, if coach, and I said, if your coach tell you some real life stories, some real life, advice, I said, listen to him. And he's like, what? I was like, listen to him. I said, because he's telling you the truth. He's been through some things.
Yeah.
He's been in some dark places. And I was like, I remember when I didn't know where bro was. Hadn't heard from bro in forever.
Yeah.
And then he pops back up and he's a coach. He's a coach at a local school. Would have never thought that he would be a coach.
Because he was a knucklehead?
Because he was a knucklehead.
I know where you're going with that.
Would have never thought he'd be a coach, but now he's a coach. And he's been a coach for a few years now, you know? And the kids, when I say it, they're like, you know? I'm like, yeah. I was like, man, that's my boy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we go way back. We play ball together. I was like, if he tell you something, man, believe him. Because he was been there.
So what was the one thing that you didn't expect to get from the program that you're like, wow, that's, I went in there, like you said, just the network, but then you talked about what you got out of it. What was the one thing you're like, you know what? I was getting this support, this mentorship, this camaraderie. I was in a safe space. What was the one thing you like thought, this is really helpful in me becoming an effective father?
Pause.
Is that hard to pause?
It is hard, man, because as a man, you are prone to move. You know, when things happen, you got to do something. People,
Yeah.
when, like, my daughter, she texts me, hey, Dad, she has a problem. I want to fix it. Something's broken. I want to fix it. I want to, so it is hard to pause, but we have to, like.
That goes back to what you're saying about being reactive and responsive.
Mm-hmm.
So is responsive harder or reacting harder?
Reactive is easy.
Okay.
Responding is so much harder because, like I was going to say, Jesus, he, before he made any decision, he go and pray.
He did do that.
He'd do a lot of praying. He would realign himself back with the Father. And that's being responsive is, before I make this move, I need to go and say, hey, is this you or is this me?
Yeah.
Because, and like Alfonso told me yesterday, he's like, shoot. He's like, man, when I hear it, I just go.
Yeah.
He's like, and I'll say, hey, if this is you, stop me. If this is you, keep pushing me. If it ain't you, stop me,
Is there any time where it's appropriate to be reactionary in parenting? Because that's life, right? You're going to react to, you can't.
Yeah. When my child is falling off the counter, I grab him real quick for that. Be reactive then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are times because I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to always, I'm not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So like the situation, like I went and picked up at the QT, like I reacted, but she needs to see that so that she can have a healthy understanding of, emotions and how people respond to things and stuff. And she can use me as an example, saying, you know what, I can handle that differently. But like I say, like I think it's good sometimes that a person sees, like a real reaction.
So that's the unexpected benefit of being in the dad's workshop that you were able to apply toward being an effective parent.
Yeah, because later on I went and talked to her. Like when I was growing up, I didn't get no come back and talk to. It was, you did this. Here's your punishment. Right. Deal with it.
Yeah.
But I came back and I talked to her and I apologized to her. I said, hey, Dad was wrong for how he handled the situation. And I was like, but the thing is when I'm sitting in a meeting and I get that ting that you have left the school.
Your heart start racing.
And well, at first it's like, okay, she's going home.
Yeah.
Right? We don't live that far from that. We live 300 meters from the house.
Yeah.
I've measured it.
Yeah.
I've taken my dog for the walk. We've measured it, right? So when I see it, okay, she's going home. But then when I see, hey, I got another alert that you went past the home.
Right.
Wait a minute. So I'm explaining to her where my emotions are coming from, and I tell her, like, I was afraid. My emotion is I'm scared.
Yeah.
And then when I'm texting, calling you, and you're not responding to me, and then you respond, with a little snarky attitude. Now I'm upset. Now it goes from fear to anger. And so I'm explaining this to her because I want her to understand where I'm coming from.
Right. And had you not learned these things in the dad's workshop, that it's okay to be vulnerable, and hearing other dads be vulnerable, you probably would have reacted differently, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I would have reacted differently. I would have never came back and apologized. I probably would have never even heard that voice say, "You're wrong."
Yeah. And then she would have never learned that, because, that, like you were saying, your aunt was your uncle's cheerleader, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of daughters, they marry their father figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so are you saying that you're teaching your daughter what a real man looks like? He's not necessarily all bronze, but he has emotions, and it's okay to look at a man who's vulnerable and sharing emotionally. That doesn't mean he's weak.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And my daughter, she sees, she knows she can break me.
All daughters can.
Yeah, she knows.
They know.
Because like, she's 15, but she's still my little girl.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I came in the house, and her and the dog are playing, and she's up on the couch, sitting up on the couch. And I say, "What are you doing?" And she she puts her arms out like a little kid, like a little girl, and she's like, and so I said, "Come here," and she jumps to my arms.
Yeah.
And she just hugs onto me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like when she comes in, she'll come into the living room sometimes out of her room, and she'll come in, and she'll have her arms out. She wants that hug, and anytime she wants a hug, I'm gonna give it to her.
Yeah. Why do you think men are scared to be vulnerable, or open, or show that they're, they're I don't want to say just so still mannered, right? Because I walk past people and I give them a nod, and they don't nod back.
Yeah.
Or I say hello, and so I don't know why we like that with each other. I'm just men in general, right?
Man,
why is that?
It's that. Well, for me, I don't have that problem. I mean, because I do sometimes, but like, man, like yesterday, I was walking out of the gym, and no, I was walking out of Walmart, and I seen a dude.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, what's going on, bro?" And I just put my hand out. He said, "Hey, good to see you." He shook my hand.
I just like,
nod. and I'll do the nod too. I'll do the nod also. I'll do the nod up.
But we always got to be hard. We always got to project that hardness.
Because if I'm vulnerable, then I'm showing weakness. And when a man shows a weakness, then it's like, oh, I can take you.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to ever feel like they can take me.
Right.
But then you get to a point in life where you're just like, man, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like, if you think you can take me, go ahead. You think you can take me.
It was something you said in a previous conversation. You said you learned from the dad's workshop that it was you learn how to love yourself.
Oh.
Speak on that.
So it was easy for me to love everybody else, man. It was hard for me to love myself, because empty becomes kind of normal. You're empty. It feels like normal because you're just always going, and you never take time to really like fill yourself back up. So my ex-wife, she had breast cancer, and so it was easy for me to get up and drive, back and forth here to Dallas. It was easy for me to, take care of her. When she was pregnant, it was my little cousin. Matter of fact, he sent me a text yesterday. He said, "Boy, you was fat," because when my daughter was born, I was like almost 300 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, man. When she got pregnant, I got pregnant too, because I was right there along with her eating, and so it was easy for me to take care of her. It was easy for me to, take care of, when I went through another miscarriage, it was easy for me to be there and take care of those people.
Yeah.
But it was hard for me to pour into myself, because I had never had an example of that.
How did you learn to love yourself?
Man, I had to go into like solitude, man. I had to be by myself in order to learn, to love myself again, because I knew myself, but I didn't really know myself, because 18-year-old Jermaine is not the same as 40-year-old Jermaine.
Yeah.
And what excited Jermaine when he was 33 don't excite Jermaine now when he's 40. And so I had to just, what makes you happy? Because I can't expect my woman to make me happy. She's not going to make me happy.
Right.
I have to make myself happy. So, I got to be able to fill my cup up so that I can pour into our cup, and she has to fill her cup up so she can pour into our cup.
Yeah.
And it's not my job to make you happy. It's my job to treat you right, and.
Well, some women may say it's your job to make them happy.
Yeah, but they're confused.
How so?
Because it's not my job to make you happy. I can't. I can do things that will put a smile on your face. I'll do things that make you feel good, but true happiness comes from inside, and that's going to come from
you loving yourself.
You loving yourself.
Gotcha.
How can you love me if you don't love yourself? And that's what I had to learn is like, I'm doing all this for them and for them and for them, but then I'm not loving myself. Well, then what happens when I'm empty?
Yeah.
Then what do they get? They get an empty vessel. I don't want them getting that.
So for men who are out there like, man, I need to find a dad's workshop, but I don't know if I really need to join it. What are some of the indicators can you give them to say, hey, you may want to seek something similar to Alfonso's dad's workshop?
Man, just being a dad.
Because you didn't know it first. You went for mentors. I mean,
yeah,
to network.
Because here's the thing is that, like, to most people, I'm not a bad dad. I'm a good dad.
Yeah.
People say, oh, he's a great father. True. But it doesn't mean I can't learn some things.
Right.
Like, now I'm able to, I don't have to, like, I would always think I had to spend money in order to make her happy, make my daughter happy, do things. No, man, just going out in the backyard with our dog and throwing the ball around makes her happy enough.
Right.
That gives her happiness.
Yeah.
Being able to go back to her and say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. And I was scared. I was afraid that something had happened to you.
Yeah.
I was afraid that you were being taken off, and I'm not Liam Neeson. I ain't got no set of skills to come hunt you down and find you, man. I'm dramatic.
His character will hunt you down.
Yeah.
I love his movies.
I can't do it, I can't. Baby girl, once your like 360 go off, that's it, know. So don't think that you have to be in a place where it's dark. Don't think that you have to be searching. We all need it, because I've learned from dads who you would say is a bad dad. I've learned from them.
I didn't say nobody.
No, not you. Okay. I'm saying in general that people would say, oh, he's a bad father.
Yeah.
But you don't know his situation. You don't know his circumstances. And when I sit and talk and listen to them, I learn, man, I see. And so don't think that because, it's not about being a good father, bad father. We're just fathers, and we all need each other.
Yeah.
So come find your tribe, man. Go find your people. It ain't got to be a fatherhood. Just start a group of guys. Just say, let's just talk. At our church, we have a thing we call small groups. Get you a group of guys. Get you 1, 2, 3 guys, and say, hey, man, let's just go talk. And that 3 might turn into 4 or 5 because he might invite a buddy next time.
Yeah.
Just come talk. That's it, really. I mean, I don't think a lot of men today understand how powerful it is to go and talk and have these conversations, and be vulnerable with each other. Because I can be vulnerable with you. I can be vulnerable with Alfonso. I can't be vulnerable with my woman because I don't feel safe. So
And 1 minute or less, because our time has come to
yeah,
end. Why can't you be vulnerable with your woman but with your tribe?
because she's not designed to understand my struggles. You know, she's designed to understand, you know, security, safety. Um, my guys, they understand when I say, you know, man, I feel like a failure. You know, I feel like
Because you're not providing that security that got you.
yeah, they
Okay.
can understand that when I come and say, hey, I
Okay.
feel like a failure, and they're like, why? You know, what's the reason? What's the why behind that? Well, because it is. You're still a provider. Even though you don't have to provide financially, you can
Yeah.
provide spiritually, you can provide mentally, you can provide emotionally in different ways. You can provide. So that's why I can say I can go and be vulnerable with my guys because they can put, you know, words and things context to what I'm really going through.
Gotcha. Jermaine, thank you for coming on
No
the
problem,
show.
man. No problem.
I hope you find this episode helpful. I know I did. I learned a lot. And so I never knew about the Dad's workshop until I met Alfonso some time ago. So I encourage you to share this episode, make people aware of this podcast, and share the podcast because I have other impactful episodes as well. So stay tuned. We'll be posting more episodes. I may not post on a regular basis. I ask you to be patient. Just this gentleman on the Dos Equis beer commercial. He says, "Stay thirsty, my friend." So, Jermaine, I'm asking you to stay thirsty, my
Stay
friend,
thirsty, huh?
and be patient because as I find people who are willing to come on my show to discuss their own travel tribulations, I will bring them to you. And so it's not always to find people such as Alfonso and Jermaine to come on the show to talk about their own personal experiences. It's helpful when you hear these stories, and if you don't necessarily benefit from them, share so other people can. Follow me on Blue Sky at Jumping Into Life, TikTok, and then definitely go on my website. I have books that I've written. I have merchandise that you can purchase. So please, I encourage you to share, not for me, but for yourself or others around you and those who you love. Thanks again, and until next time. Bye-bye.